Hello. Hi, welcome. My name is Carrie Elkin, and we're going to begin an intro to yoga series. We're doing it live today on YouTube for those who weren't able to register so they can easily watch the replay. So make sure to find a comfy spot, your mat. Let people know that you're unavailable for the next 45 or so minutes. Be comfortable. We're going to get started in about 1 minute. If you have any questions before we get started, feel free to comment on the side over there in the chat box area. Feel free to write anything you want during our class today so I can try to get back to you. So we want a mat today. We want blocks. I have blocks over there, a strap. And we're going to get started in a comfortable seated position. So your comfortable seated position can be easy pose, which is one of our poses today, but not counted towards our list. Easy pose, comfortable. You can also lie down if you prefer, or you can sit in the chair. Just find a spot for the next few moments to be comfy. This is how all yoga classes start. You start in a comfortable position. And even though you may notice people around you are sitting, maybe the instructor is even sitting, you can feel free to really lie down, sit in a chair, or be as comfortable as you'd like. Okay, we're going to get started. So this is called Intro to Yoga. Welcome. Welcome to my intro series. It actually coordinates with a challenge called 30 Poses in 30 Days. Each day you're going to receive an email that will teach you all about the pose of the day. So today we're going to practice 7 poses, and upon conclusion of this class today, you'll start receiving the poses. So you just have to make sure to register. I'll put the links below so you can easily register. But next week we'll practice 7 more. So when you come to next week's class, we'll practice the next 7 poses, and then you'll receive them each day. So by the time our series ends, we'll have the foundation and insight to over 30 poses. So I say over 30 poses because we won't cover in too much detail like that pose I just showed you, easy pose or lying down or things like that. They just kind of flow with the class. So technically, easy pose is our first pose of the day. So get comfy in easy pose, lie down, be in a chair, be comfortable. So most yoga classes start out with what's called the Dharma talk. It's basically a focus for the practice. Since this is kickoff to Yoga 101, you already know what the Dharma talk is, where we're headed. We're going to be talking about introductory poses and philosophy and such. So while this is a 101 class and is meant for everybody, I also have more specialized classes that are free to you to watch on my yoga page and is meant to meet you where you're at in life right now. So you can easily watch yoga for athletes there, yoga for pregnancy, and yoga for aging. So for signing up for this class, this kickoff class, you should have already received How Yoga Heals class, which is the foundation for this series. If you haven't received it, make sure to register to receive it on my yoga page, yoginicarry.com/yoga. And then lastly, we're going to be covering yoga on the mat during the series. However, you'll also quickly learn that what we have just started out during this stretch class for you will hopefully become a weekly reset to guide you to help you live a healthy life off of the mat. So the focus is on the mat, but you'll quickly learn that this translates to off of the mat, which is living life. Because what we practice off the mat is really on the mat is meant for off the mat. So it's hopefully to make us less stressed. What brings you here? So that's really the focus of this. So even though we're practicing stuff on the mat, it's going to help you off of the mat. Upon conclusion of this series, you'll also have the option of joining my yoga challenge um, which is an inspiration to off of the mat. And it's called the 28 Days to Elevate. So upon conclusion of this series, you can go ahead and start learning about Ayurveda and yoga off of the mat. So maybe if you are here for the live, you can go ahead and write in the comment section what brings you to yoga, what needs healing. If anyone is out there, I know many of you probably are watching the replay too. So, what is yoga? Yoga is an ancient practice which incorporates many different aspects of both our physical body and our mentality. Yoga literally means union. So, doing our practice of yoga, we're aiming simply to unify different areas of our lives and our body and bring them back into the state of balance. So, if I could describe yoga in one word, it would be balance. We're trying to find balance. So, why is it important? For many of us, the pressures of today's world result in unnecessary stress, anxiety, a variety of other imbalances which present themselves regularly in the form of both physical and mental illness. Even for those of us who are relatively balanced or look like they're in a good state of health, with the way modern world works today, it's become increasingly difficult to maintain this state consistently. And also the confidence and energy it requires to go about your daily life. Yoga and meditation simply help us return to this natural state of balance. So hopefully you're coming to this class to find energy, to find something positive that maybe you're not feeling in your everyday life. I like to think of my yoga and meditation practice as a way of recharging my body and my brain. So for me, it's making sure my body, breath, and mind are in the most stable and secure place they can be before moving into any daily tasks or responsibilities that I might not complete as well if I hadn't taken the time to tune into them with either a weekly or a couple of times a week or even a daily yoga practice. So, this by meeting weekly for yoga on the mat classes, it's getting us into the routine of weekly recharge, reset. That's what your weekly yoga class is. And that's what I highly recommend to beginners. So, we want to return to this natural state in the sense that we consider a regular practice of yoga to help us align further with this natural state of being, your authentic self, and your honest um, what you honestly want and need. So sometimes we don't even know what we want and need. It takes the simplicity of being in a yoga class to reset, to recharge, to find out what we truly need. This state of balance and why it's so important to make it at least a weekly practice. So hopefully by the end of December, you'll be in the routine of it and you'll know why you need to come to a weekly yoga class. So what is yoga to you? I'd love it if you could comment below simply stating what your current perception of yoga is. There's no wrong answer here. Okay, and then I just want to speak a little bit about a little mindfulness, really the science of yoga. Where the mind goes, energy flows. That's a quote by Everett Noel. He wrote the book, The Power of Now. This is a big one. When it comes down to it, the mentally invigorating aspect of yoga is basic neuroscience. Yoga helps us in becoming aware of and reprogramming our mental tendencies to think or act a certain way. As they deal with this neural pathways in the brain and their relationship with human behavior, neuroscientists study how the energy required to keep certain neural pathways open for everyday sense, our repeated human behaviors, can be redirected over the course of time. So it's from this information that they can note changes in the brain when subjects are trying to make large scale lifestyle changes, such as breaking out of unhealthy habits, recovering from any mental illnesses, embarking on new health regimens. So it's really fascinating to consider in terms of our brain what actually goes on with the signals and signs we unconsciously process up there. So, yoga also has a sister science practice, which I mentioned a few moments ago. It's called yoga off of the mat, basically. And in it's actually called Ayurveda, which means translates to the science of life, thus, yoga off of the mat, life. My monthly yoga themes are based on that. And you can watch an intro webinar on Ayurveda and also take your body type quiz um, at on my Ayurveda page. So if anyone's interested in learning right away more about Ayurveda and yoga off the mat, please feel free to visit. I'll also link that below, because truly we're trying to make yoga as part of a lifestyle. So yes, the fad has become yoga practice, tone, stretch. Yes, but we want to try to use yoga as a lifestyle. It can change the way you feel about your life. Whatever circumstance or situation that you're currently in, it helps to improve relationships, body image, improve strength, fitness, and so much more. The list goes on, and you probably learned a little bit about that if you watched my yoga, How Yoga Heals class. So, when combined with a healthy, balanced diet, regular sleeping patterns, yoga will have amazing effects on both your mental and your physical health. You'll be calmer, you'll be more productive, you'll have more energy, and above all, you'll have the clarity to make better decisions and start aiming towards goals that maybe seemed impossible at one point. So, upon conclusion of this challenge, you'll have the opportunity to join that 28 Days to Elevate Yoga Off the Mat challenge. Okay, so I just want to cover two things. Yoga has been said to help you physically. A regular practice has countless benefits. So I just want to go over some of those benefits. Increase flexibility. So maybe you're here for that. Increase muscle strength and tone. Improve respiration, energy, and vitality. Maintaining a balanced metabolism, cardio and circulatory health. Improved athletic performance, and protection from injuries. So many doctors and health professionals now recommend yoga as part of recovery and physio program. And of course, that means that yoga has a special place in terms of preventative practices, prevention medicine. And then, of course, maybe you're here for more of the mental health benefits. Yoga has immense healing effects when it comes to our mental health and well being. So, even if you're not among the 1 in 5 adults today who've experienced difficulties regarding their mental health, I'm sure you know someone who has. So many psychotherapists, psychologists, psychiatrists are prescribing it to combat the symptoms of illness such as anxiety, depression, eating disorders, bipolar, ADHD, insomnia. So here's some of the benefits: increase body awareness, relieve stress, reduce muscle tension and strain and inflammation, sharpened attention and concentration, calmed and centered nervous system, mental clarity, and improve cognitive function. So if this is something that you're looking for, again, yoga is for you. I kick off many of my monthly challenges by a mental health class. So you'll be able to find on my mental wellness page intro to stress relief with yoga, anxiety relief, and SAD, seasonal affective disorder. So if that's something you suffer from, you can go ahead and watch one of those classes. So before we officially begin, I do want to introduce you to what's called the 8 limbs of yoga. So most people know yoga as the poses, right? The stretches. Maybe most of us are here for the stretches today. That is one of the limbs of yoga. And yes, you'll definitely feel the physical benefits of the physical part of yoga, asana, the postures. But there's also 7 other areas. So I'm going to bring up another one that you already know, probably. Pranayama is one of them as well. And those are breathing exercises. We're going to take the next few moments to take a few deep breaths here. Here's a very simple, basic breath. Maybe you've already done it in your everyday life. We're going to inhale through our nose and exhale through our mouth. This is a cleansing breath. This is a perfect way to start any yoga class and reset in your everyday life. So all these breathing exercises we do on the mat are a practice for off of the mat. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Keep going like that. So we learned that 2 of the limbs of yoga, the poses and the breathing exercises. Another one I'm sure you've heard of is meditation. So we're not going to cover in too much detail meditation during our time together because it's a whole different animal. And I will offer you techniques so that you can get to meditation, but it's something that actually takes a lot of practice. And the 6 limbs before, limbs 1 through 6 will help bring you to meditation. So we're not really going to go too much into meditation. So that's technically the seventh limb of yoga, of one of the seventh of the 8 limbs of yoga. So we won't really cover that, but I will send you, upon conclusion of this, a meditation that you can do throughout our time together as often as you'd like. And then the 8th limb of yoga is samadhi, which is bliss and enlightenment. So by doing everything in our series, our time together, and with your practice over the years, the months, the goal is to eventually reach the state of bliss and enlightenment. So obviously, we can't cover that in this series. It's more of a long-term effect. So number 7 and 8, we really won't cover in too much detail. But so skip 7 and 8. We know about asana, pranayama, breathing exercises. And so that's 4. So now I'm going to go to the few that we missed. Focus, concentration. So while you're sitting here with your breath, we can go to a regular breath now. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. Concentrating on just breathing through your nose. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose, which could be a challenge for some people. If you're normally a mouth breather, the challenge maybe for today's practice is to try to nose breathe. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. This is a focused concentration. Eyes are closed. So when we close our eyes, this is a form of sensory withdrawal, which is another limb of yoga. When we open our eyes, it tends to suck out energy. We're trying to get that energy back. So an easy way to bring more energy back to your life, close your eyes, relax. This is our most dominant sense. It helps us be more grounded. So close your eyes. Be with your breath, focus concentration. So 2 very simple intros to limbs number 5 and 6. Sensory withdrawal. Each week we'll focus on a different sense. But for today, just closing your eyes and notice how much of a stress relief it is to just have your eyes closed while you focus on your breath. Okay, and that leads me to limb number 1 and 2. So while you stay with your breath, with your eyes closed, I'm going to talk a little bit about limbs 1 and 2, and then we'll begin our actual poses. So limb number 1 is called the yamas. These are values and disciplines, ethical standards of how to conduct yourself in daily life and behavior with ourselves and with others. And they are the inspiration, which is the yamas, to Dharma talks at the beginning of most yoga classes. And for our series, it's just intro to yoga. So there's a few different yamas. There's about 5 yamas. For today, we're just going to focus on the yama ahimsa, which means no harm, thoughts, and letting ego go. And what does that mean? Oh, yes, of course, we don't want to harm anybody. But for today's practice, we're going to talk about not harming ourselves. I have a great quote for that. It's called a comparison is the thief of joy. Has anyone ever heard of that? So it's really just a way to be mindful that one thing you should never, ever do in yoga class is compare yourself to others. So one of the things I like about virtual yoga is you really can't look around to your neighbor. What are they doing? And why can't I do that? Why isn't my body doing that? But you are still with yourself and you might feel that frustration. So I challenge you today to just go through the flow of the class. Try not to judge yourself because then we're comparing ourselves and we're taking away joy we can have from this experience of the poses. Okay, and then today's other, number 2, the second limb of yoga is the niyamas. These are duties and observances to cultivate happiness and self-confidence. So there's about 5 niyamas. And for today, we're just going to talk about saucha, which is cleanliness. So, this is really just being more mindful of the choices in the food, your emotions, your thoughts. Notice what's on your mind right now. You have the choice to keep a clean mind, to not go to, oh, why is she talking so much? I thought we were doing yoga poses today. Just focus on learning yoga. You wanted to learn yoga? This is the whole part of yoga. 8 limbs, not just the stretches. You're going to get the whole full experience so that you can feel the full benefits of yoga, not just feeling like you had a nice stretch. You can go anywhere for that. I want you to experience the full part of yoga. And that's being more mindful of where your thoughts go. Are you really open to learning yoga? Are you committed to coming to class every week? Are you committed to, by coming to class every week and learning the 30 poses in 30 days, to feeling the benefits of yoga? And you'll notice by taking little steps, in your case, for the next month, to be like, wow, you know what? I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to make this commitment. It's easy. It's virtual. I can do it anywhere. You're making a commitment to your body, and you'll start feeling the benefits of it. So that's an example of saucha, cleanliness, mindfully being aware of something that is good for you. In this case, yoga class. Maybe in your everyday life, committing to, I don't know, no meat, or giving up something, or committing to not go to the dark side when you're driving and someone causes you road rage. So making mindful, simple shifts. Okay, so just in summary, before we totally begin, going through all 8 limbs. Yamas is number 1. Today, we're just focusing on no harm, no negative thoughts about ourselves as we go through our poses. The niyamas, is number 2, is being mindful of making this shift to try yoga, try something new, is actually going to benefit us in the long run. That's saucha. Number 3 is asana, the poses that we're just about to begin. Pranayama is the breathing exercises for today. Our cleanse breath. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Number 5 is sensory withdrawal. Today, just closing your eyes, letting go of what no longer serves you, the bright lights, anything causing stress in your head, maybe even roll your eyeballs. And then number 6 is dharana, which is focus, concentration, or mindfulness. And today we're just focusing on our breath. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. So anytime our mind wanders, we're just going to bring our focus back to our breath. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. And then remember, number 7, meditation, and 8, we're going to get, those are long-term benefits of yoga. All right, so we're about to begin the physical practice. What are you going to expect during the physical poses? We're going to be doing forward folds, inversions, back bends, twists, standing poses, seated poses, side angle poses, working your body in all different ways to free up any physical blocks. So maybe you're coming to class with some neck, shoulder issues. Feel free to post what you're coming to class for. What's something that's ailing you physically. Think about whatever that is as you move through your poses today. So if we're doing a forward fold and you're like, oh, my shoulder hurts. Find a way to get into whatever ails you during the poses that we'll do today. All right, so our first pose, technically was seated pose, but our second pose is going to be child's pose. So I'm going to just step back for a moment, want to put you in the pose, and then I'll talk about some of the benefits. So you were in the seated pose. You're just going to shift forward, uncross your feet, and push yourself back to what's called child's pose. So for child's pose, I understand some people aren't so bendy, and maybe even that simple pose is a little challenging for you. I welcome you to open your knees super wide and then lower down. That might be more comfortable for you. And you can also take blocks or pillows underneath you. So maybe a block at your head. If your head doesn't touch the ground, use the block or take your hands underneath. So we're really trying to find a connection with our forehead to the ground. So that might take some assistance. So that's a reason to bring pillows or blocks to class. As we go through today's class, realize, next week I'm definitely going to bring a pillow. So while you're hanging here in child's pose, shake your head no, massage your forehead, see how that feels. While you're in child's pose, connect back to your breath. Child's pose is the pose that we go to anytime during practice that we need to modify something or take a break. You come here. And how does this translate to off the mat? When life gets to be a little bit too much, we want to step away and relax, take moments of stillness, just like child's pose. So there's a funny post going around that if you're in a stressful situation, just drop the child's pose. If you're in a grocery store, just drop the child's pose. Obviously, we probably won't do that, but it's the same concept. Stepping away, closing your eyes, taking a few nice deep breaths. So that's why this is your go-to pose anytime you need, returning at any point during most yoga classes. So it's so normal to, as you advance in your yoga practice, to be like, wow, I don't really feel like doing that pose today. It looks a little overwhelming and my body or mind isn't mentally there. I'm going to hang out in child's pose until I'm ready to rejoin everyone. And that's the practice of ahimsa, listening to your body, stepping back, taking time to reconnect to your breath, causing no harm on your body. Okay, so in child's pose, we're actually going to move into a little bit of a flow. All right, so from child's pose, we're going to lift up to all fours, drop your belly and look up, round your spine, press back to child's pose. Round to all fours, drop your belly, look up, round your spine, press to your child's pose. So it's a flow with your breath, with your eyes closed. Inhale, lift up. Open your heart. Exhale, round your spine. Press back. Inhale, lift up. Open your heart. Exhale, round and press back. Inhale. Exhale. Keep going just like that. That's a nice meditative flow. And this is a great way to connect or really withdraw from our sense of sight. It's a meditative flow. So the next pose we're going to do is downward dog. So once you come to child's pose, you're going to reach your arms forward, shift your butt off of your heels. If you have any tightness in your shoulders, bend your elbows. So hopefully we've seen dogs or cats stretch before. That nice, lovely stretch here. That's the same pose. So child's pose, we were back here. Puppy dog, we're up here. Puppy dog is how we want our backs to feel when we're in downward facing dog. So remember how your back feels here. We're going to curl our toes under, lift your hips, bend your knees, push your chest in towards your thighs. Feel that puppy dog stretch again. But now pedal your feet out. So your body's technically in a V position. You're trying to get your back nice and straight. And then maybe press both heels into the ground. See how that feels. So it's a back stretch. We're pushing away from the mat with our palms. Use all 10 of your fingers to lift your hips really nice and high. And then you're feeling a lovely stretch in the back of your legs, your thighs, your hamstrings, your calves to push your heels down as flat as they go without rounding your back. So keep that puppy dog stretch feel in your back in this downward dog. So downward dog and child's pose are interchangeable. So while you're holding here and in down dog, if it becomes too much, rest in child's pose. So downward facing dog is a beginner level pose. It introduces the idea of inverting the body. So you should feel blood flowing down to your head. If it becomes too much, rest in child's pose. You're taking the hips and the heart higher than the head. So this also begins drawing length in the spine, as well as stretching and lengthening the spine. Downward facing dog introduces a basic balance challenge too. So maybe you're not off and upside down. It stretches your hips, your hamstrings, your calves, as well as your quadriceps and ankles. It's been known to calm the brain, help relieve stress, mild depression. It energizes the body. It stretches the shoulders. Where are you feeling it? It stretches the hamstrings, the calves, the arches, the hands. It stretches the arms, the legs. It helps relieve symptoms of menopause, PMS, so menstrual discomforts. And it helps prevent osteoporosis. So I'm just going to show you really quick a modification for downward facing dog. So we already know we can come to child's pose, but you can also do this against the wall. Your body's in an L position. Bend your knees, hang your head. So that's a nice modification for downward facing dog. If you want to do it, you're like, oh, I want to do a little something more than child's pose. Come over to your wall. That's one of the reasons I picked this spot. I'm really close to a wall. All right, so our next pose. So even though we're not going to consider cat-cow flow a pose, we're not considering easy pose one of our poses today. So we've technically done two poses, child's pose and downward facing dog. From here, we're going to move into what's called plank pose. I'm sure most of you guys have done plank, but it's actually part of our flow. So from child's pose, you can come to a modified plank where you're on your knees, but you're shifting forward. So you really feel your core working. So modified plank to child's pose. Modified plank to child's pose. One more modified plank. Weight is in your hands, fingertips, and then press to child's pose. But we learned down dog, so we're going to try the down dog plank flow. Lift your hips, down dog, shift to your plank. Down dog, shift to your plank. Down dog, shift to your plank. So you're just going to push forward and back, either down dog to plank or child's pose to plank. And then on your next one, hold your plank. So either hold your regular plank or your modified plank on your knees. And I'm just going to talk you through a little bit of the benefits of this plank. So holding plank for just a minute seems to be very long minute, right? Here's some reasons to do it anyway. It strengthens your core. So hopefully you feel it in your core. It increases muscle definition. It heightens metabolism. It reduces back pain. It gives you better posture. It improves your balance. It enhances bone and joint health. It boosts your mood. It relieves stress. And it helps with bone density. So you can actually build bone density. We don't just keep losing it. We can do exercises like this to help get it back. And it's the foundation for handstands and so many more advanced yoga poses. So go ahead and push back to down dog or child's pose. Take a couple of nice deep breaths here. This is recovering from plank. So hopefully you held your planks for a few moments so you felt those strong benefits. So that was pose number 3. Pose number 4 is going to be cobra pose. So we're really just adding on from child's pose, come to modified plank, drop your hips. This is cobra pose. No scrunch shoulders, shoulders pressed down. From here, use your knees, press to child's pose. So from child's pose, we're actually first coming to plank, then dropping your hips, coming to cobra, then pressing back. One more there. So plank, modified plank. Drop your hips, cobra. Press back, child's pose. But we're going to do the same flow for downward facing dog. So let's come to our down dog. Flow to plank. Drop your knees. Drop your hips. Cobra. Press back to down dog. Shift forward to your cobra. Don't just drop in cobra. We want to plank. Keep your strong hold on your core to drop your knees and drop your hips. So don't just let your abs go, then you'll be dumping in your lower back. And we don't want that lower back pain. Okay, do a few more, right like that. So either shifting forward from child's pose to plank or down dog to plank to cobra pose. So some benefits of cobra pose. This is a back bend that naturally opens the heart chakra right at your chest. It's the chest cavity that allows for the expansion of the lungs and the diaphragm to take in more oxygen, to enliven and energize the body. So it stretches muscles in the shoulders, the chest, the abs. It decreases stiffness in your lower back. It strengthens the arms and the shoulders. It increases flexibility. It improves menstrual irregularities. It alleviates negative moods, firms and tones the butt. So maybe next time you go through, if you feel it in your butt. And it invigorates the heart. All right, so on our next one, we're actually just going to hold our cobra for a moment so that I can point out a few things. So when you're in cobra, if you're like, oh my gosh, this is killing my lower back, lower down, lift up to a baby cobra where you can easily move your hands around. So see, I'm not lifted as high in this baby cobra. My hands stay down, but just lift your hands to make sure you're in the height you should be in. So baby cobra or higher cobra. Baby cobra, higher cobra. So anytime we're doing cobra in a regular yoga class, you have the option of being low or high. Low or high. This will eventually take you into upward dog where your knees will be lifted. So we would be low, medium, and then high where your knees are lifted. So as a beginner yogi, you want to just focus on low and medium. Let's press back to child's pose or down dog. Take a few nice deep breaths in down dog or child's pose. We always want to come back to down dog or child's pose. Number one, just relieve your lower back from that. It should feel nice pressing back there. And also to reconnect to our breath. All right, the next pose we're going to do is locust pose. So we're going to shift forward, back to your plank, lower down to your belly. Once you're on your belly, it's another back bend. So baby cobra, higher cobra. We're going to reach our arms around, palms face up towards the ceiling. Lift your chin, lift your chest, reach towards your toes. Hold it here. So you're balancing on your belly. Squeeze your core. Feel like you're in plank. Lift your core. From here, we're going to release. Drop your hands. Rest your left cheek on the mat. We're going to try that one more time. So let's lift up. Lift your chest. Lift your heart. Lift your hand. Maybe lift your feet. So this is an add-on. So we can keep our feet down or we can lift them up. Breathe. Balancing on your belly. Feel your belly move as you breathe. Close your eyes. Make sure you're not tensing up your forehead. We'll take our fingers under our shoulders. Press back to child's pose. So you'll find when we press back to child's pose or down dog, once again, when we're doing back bends like that, you're going to feel the release. You want to be there right after. So similar to cobra pose, locust strengthens the abdominal muscles, the shoulder girdle, the torso, the legs, the arms, and it's a great preparation for deeper back bends. So it stretches the shoulders, the chest, the belly, the thighs. It improves posture. It stimulates the abdominal organs, helps relieve stress. All right, we're moving into our next pose, which is another back bend. All right, so we're going through our flow. Our flow, child's pose. It's modified plank. To drop your hips to cobra. To lower slowly. Feel all this arm work. Lower, bend your elbows, slowly lower down. Once you're down, we're going to take our left arm in front. It's like a kickstand. Bend your right knee. Reach your right hand around to find your right foot. And then from here, you should feel a quadricep stretch. See if you can add on. Straighten out that left arm as much as you can. How does that feel? So we have a heart opener. We have a hip and quadricep stretch. We're going to release, lower down, do the other side. So right forearm in front, bend your left knee, find your left foot, pull in so you feel the stretch in your quadricep, and then lift your chest up. So these are half bow. We're going to try the full bow. We're going to drop both forearms down, bend your knees, and first release. Rock your feet side to side. This should feel nice. We're going to try for both. So we did half bow. We had one, then we had the other. Now we're going to bend both knees, reach around, find your hands, lift up. If you can easily find your hands, go around and find your feet. If you can't find your feet, hold your hands. If you can't find your hands, go back to holding one side. Because we're going to try it twice. Let's release. Hands at your hips. Look to the left. Relax. All right. So we're going to try that one more time. You're going to come back around, bend both knees, reach around, find your hands or find your feet. And if you weren't able to find your both feet, you're going to hold the other side here and breathe. Feel your belly move as you breathe. So you're balancing on your belly. You're actually getting a stomach massage. This is a deep back bend, which opens up the heart center, allows energy and oxygen to be sent around the body. It stimulates the entire front of your body while also engaging the back muscles, the psoas muscles. Bow also improves posture, stimulates the abdomen and the neck. Take your fingers under your shoulders, press back to child's pose. Use your knees, press back. So you know this flow, right? We use this flow through all yoga classes. Whichever yoga class you go in, it's a flow. So we move to child's pose, to plank or modified plank, to lowering to your belly. All right, so let's do a recap of the poses we did. We did child's pose, we did down dog, we did plank, we did cobra, we did locust, we did bow. We have one more that's on our list of poses that you'll receive an email for. And this is called hero pose. Okay, from hero pose, I'm going to ask you guys, if you haven't already, grab some blocks or some pillows. And here's your pose. You're lifting up from child's pose to kneel. Our kneeling pose is going to be wide though. So look how wide I am. And I'm sitting down. But a lot of us can't sit down like this. So we need a block or maybe 2 blocks. Or maybe even goes like super high. You can stack as many as you want here. So your feet are wider than hip width. So this shouldn't hurt your knees. You're coming to the lift that is comfortable on your knees. So if you're feeling your knees here, lift up to here. If you're feeling your knees here, lift up to here. Keep going. until you're not feeling it in your knees. Okay, and we're just sitting here. Thumb and pointer touch. This is a hand gesture, a mudra. Close your eyes. Just also advancing. So if you're pretty flexible in your quadriceps, you can go all the way down. You can lower down to your forearms. And you can eventually lower all the way down. So just know where you're headed. With the practice of yoga, you'll eventually go there. But we're practicing ahimsa, remember? Yama number 1 today, which means no harm. So we're listening to our body. If our body is saying, oh my gosh, why are you in this pose? It's hurting your knees. You're listening to your body, appreciating what it can do, being content there, lifting as high as you need to go. So hero pose. This is a pose that's great for recentering the spine after deep back bends like we did, or twists, as well as providing stretches in the hips, the thighs, the ankles, the feet. It also significantly improves circulation and helps to relieve indigestion. Okay, so a couple of little extras. We're going to lift up, remove your blocks, cross your ankles, sit down, extend your legs, and your knees will probably like this. Knock your knees up and down. This should feel good. From here, take your fists, knock your outer calf muscles. Don't get your bones. Get your outer thighs. Get your hips. Get your quadriceps. Bend your knees. Get your hamstring. Other hamstring. One calf. Other calf. Okay, now our legs feel pretty good. That's how hero is good for circulation. So we held a pose. It probably stopped the flow of blood in our legs. And then we release. So we have a nice new fresh flow of blood. We released a little extra by that little massage. And now we're going to come to a comfortable pose. So you can lie down. You can sit on a block, sit on some pillows. We're moving into our next limb. So our next limb is pranayama, breathing exercises. We already did a cleansing breath. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. We'll do a couple of those breaths right here. And then I'm going to talk you into a different breath. So the breath is the life force of yoga, or the prana, as it's known in Sanskrit, or chi in some other practices, like qigong. Okay, here's our next breathing exercise. Go back to nose breathing. The breath that we're trying to practice in yoga classes is a little more than nose breathing. So we do want to nose breathe throughout our yoga experience, our practice, our time together. But we're trying to do something that's called the ujjayi breath. So it's a combination of nose breathing and that cleansing breath we just did. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. So when we through our mouth, we feel the breath at the back of our throat. Test it out again. Remember, inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. You felt that here? You heard it, right? You heard yourself sigh out. We're going to keep feeling it at our throat and hearing it, even though we're going to nose breathe. So we're going to inhale through our nose and exhale through your nose. Still feel it at the back of your throat. So you don't want to do it as stressed as I just did it. I was trying to make you still hear that you can hear my breath, even though I'm nose breathing. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose. That's your ujjayi breath. It's an oceanic sound. It's a louder breath to kind of keep our focus. That's our practice in mindfulness, which is one of our limbs of yoga. So we're mindfully aware that we're choosing to do this ujjayi breath. We're choosing to hear our breath. It's like a white noise machine. Our breath is one of our most calming tools that we have, and it's a tool we can bring with ourselves everywhere. So let's use it. Let's use it to help ourselves. So this breath is great for calming the mind and the nervous system. You're inhaling and exhaling through your nose while dragging the breath along the back of your throat. to create a gentle hissing sound. So you don't want it to be strained or stressed. It's a nice, calm sigh out through your nose, hearing your breath. Try to make each inhale and exhale even. Take each breath a little deeper than the last as you feel comfortable. So inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose, deepening your breath each time. So keep doing this breath, this ujjayi breath. There are many different breathing exercises that can be practiced both before, during, and independent of your yoga asana practice. Depending on the level and the area of focus for the class, your teacher will guide you through it accordingly. So each week we'll learn a different breathing exercise. But I wanted to introduce you to this one this week so we can try to add it on and do this ujjayi breath through your practice next week. So not only does proper breathing allow us to calm down the central nervous system, it also has endless other benefits, which include increased blood circulation, it relaxes your muscles, it releases endorphins, and it helps to improve the detoxification of our blood and our cells. Do a few more breaths here. I'm going to speak a little bit about meditation. Meditation is another vital aspect of yoga, which any good class will include, no matter what style, an introduction to meditation. So I'm just going to talk about it today, but I'm going to incorporate it throughout our practice very simply. It's going to kind of be how we end yoga class each week. So if you can, on your phone, you can set your alarm. So say at the end of every class, right before we do right after we do our breathing exercise, I'll guide you to help relax, which will be a practice in mindfulness. But I'll leave you there at your practice to meditate, to try to find stillness as long as possible. So maybe we'll start with like 5 minutes. So you'll set your timer for 5 minutes on your phone. So have your phone handy, not checking it during class, just use at the end of the class to set your alarm. And then you don't have to keep looking at your phone because you know in 5 minutes the alarm is going to go off. And you can commit to 5 minutes of practicing headed towards meditation, right? So remember, meditation is number 7 in our 8 limbs of yoga. So we won't go into too much detail. Meditation and yoga go hand in hand with one another. While yoga draws attention and awareness to the body, meditation draws awareness to our thoughts and our mind. So from here, we're going to go ahead and lie down, get comfy. So we usually do breathing exercises sitting up, but we do some lying down ones too. We're going to, after a breathing exercise, we lie down, extend your arms, get comfortable. You can also do this with your knees bent, knees bent, feet flat against each other and knees out. Or you can always have a pillow behind your head. You can always lift your hips, have the pillow, see how that feels. So try to be comfortable. This is our setup to our practice in mindfulness, which will eventually bring us into meditation. So be comfortable. We're going to go through our next limb of yoga, which is mindfulness. I'm going to mindfully take you to relax. You're going to relax all 10 of your fingers. Palms up if you're feeling good. Palms turned down if you're feeling anxious. So palms up, you're open to whatever today has to offer, letting it come in, absorb into your skin. Relax all 10 of your toes. Notice if you still have your ujjayi breath going. So it shouldn't be that ujjayi breath shouldn't be extreme. It's just a way to help relax your mind, give you something to focus on. Because notice, where's your mind right now? Are you able to still it? Are you able to notice as it wanders away? And then bring it back to your ujjayi breath? Remember, our sensory withdrawal for the day is sight, so make sure your eyes are closed. And even though we'll focus on other sensory withdrawal in future weeks, we're not going to forget about the sense of sight. We're going to close our eyes throughout many yoga classes, whether it's through a flow, that cat cow flow we did today, or whether it's just being in what's called final relaxation or savasana pose to help us relax. Notice as you're relaxed, you're catching your mind wandering, you have your ujjayi breath. Can we feel our belly rise and sink as we breathe? Inhale, your belly rises. Exhale, your belly sinks, relaxing your lower back. So being here in the stillness, for some of us, this is really hard. This might be the hardest thing on your yoga journey. You'll want to get up and be like, I don't have time for this. If that's you, you need this the most. So challenging yourself to find stillness, to relax. It's only 5 minutes. Once you get the hang of 5 minutes, you'll crave wanting more time. And that's where the benefits will happen. So if you're not willing to try, you won't eventually feel the long-term benefits of this. And hopefully that's what we're here for. When we're taking moments just like this, we're trying to find balance with our mind and our body. This is that idea of union that we started practice with that I mentioned. Returning to a more sustainable state of being, which is going to allow us to function better, achieve tasks at a higher level of productivity, or maybe simply trying to return to a happier state of mind. Either way, you'll learn early on in your yoga journey that coining yourself as a yogi simply isn't accurate if you don't have a regular practice of meditation. Mindfulness, this flow of being aware of what's going on with your body that we're doing right now, is what will eventually help take you into meditation. So it's an important part of any yoga class and why we hang out in savasana or final relaxation for a few moments before ending class. I do have 3 meditation challenges that I guide people throughout the year. So don't even focus and overwhelm your brain about meditation right now. For this series, we're just focused on the poses and the benefits of the poses. Meditation, yoga off the mat will come later on. You will receive a guided meditation directly to your inbox if you signed up for this. So make sure to go ahead and I'll add some of the links while you stay here a little bit longer so that we can easily find it, easily sign up for it. Taking a few more moments here when we hang out and find our relaxation. It's also a reset to how we're going to proceed the rest of the day. So, yoga class is about to end. Let's take a moment now that we're relaxed. Set your intention for the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend. Finding one word to describe how you want your day to go. Maybe it's how you're feeling right now. One word, maybe peace, calm, maybe even a song comes to your head and you want to use lyrics to the song. So it can really be anything. So find that one word that's going to be your go to word. Anytime stress comes your way, you're going to reset and you have your word to redirect you back from the dark side, the stress, to this word that you chose. That's you controlling where your life is headed, where your mind is headed. Hopefully, you have a word. Okay, keep this word with you at all times. All right, this last link that I'm posting here this is where you sign up. If you have any questions, let me know. Go ahead and wiggle your toes out, rotate your ankles, come into a full body stretch. Get your arms back, legs forward, stretch, 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 and then squeeze your knees into your chest. So hug your knees in and then rock side to side. Rock here, massage your back for a few moments. So yoga is an ancient spiritual, meditative, and physical practice that has many interpretations, benefits, and uses in everyday life. So while there's so many styles to choose from, we're doing a basic hatha beginner series. The practice of yoga is ultimately incredibly personal thing, which can be beneficial on many different levels. So it's backed by science, recommended by healthcare professionals steeped in history, cultural background. Yoga is definitely a serious contender in the realm of health and wellness trends. So join me for the next 3 weeks by signing up on my events page, yoginikerry.com/events. Scroll down and you'll find it, or just click the link below. By signing up there at the link, you'll get the invitation to join the weekly Zoom classes for the next 3 weeks. You'll get the 30 poses in 30 days yoga series sent directly to your inbox. Your job is to just go open up the pose of the day, learn about it, and then do that until we meet again next Sunday. You'll also receive a $25 off coupon towards a yoga mat. Maybe you need a yoga mat or athletic apparel. So use it there if you'd like. And then you'll also receive a link to a meditation that you can use throughout this challenge. So even though we're not focusing on meditation, you'll have a little meditation that you can practice. So if you're a bit overwhelmed at all by any of the information or afraid that your yoga practice might require sacrifices in other areas of your life, I want you to stop right there. Yoga can be done anywhere, and it's one of the reasons that I'm doing it as a virtual series, so there's no commuter time, in the comfort of your home. Once you have the basic knowledge, what you learned today, and a little bit of practice behind you, what we're going to be practicing over the next 3 weeks, you'll start to really be able to reap the benefits no matter where you are on your yoga and life journey. So thank you so much for joining me. I really do hope that you've received valuable information that will help you on your yoga journey. This is a great way to end the year learning yoga. So you can check that off your list for 2021. So ending hard this year. Not so hard, though. We're trying to relax in yoga. So reach out to me for any questions you might have at yoginikerry@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook, Yogini Kerry. So Instagram.com/Yogini Kerry, or Facebook.com/Yogini Kerry. You'll be able to follow along with my daily posts, which for December is all about mindfulness. So, practicing mindfulness, your practice off the mat. And namaste is how we end all of yoga classes, which is the light in me, honors the light in you. We come together. Namaste. Let me know if you have any questions. You can feel free to write here or again, reach out to me directly. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a lovely day.